This is Sean with Gate City. We're on a job today in Greensboro. So what we've got going on here is we've got concrete that is just completely sloping into the foundation here. So you've seen me look at these, a lot of these before, but let me show you what happens if this goes unattended for a while.
Yeah.
For my video.
Oh yeah. Good job. Move the chair.
That's okay, I think. So you see how the floor has sunken in and fallen, and so right along this wall here the joists are all rotted. So I've got Miguel under there right now. We've got some fans set up and that gives us a good breeze for working. So let me check back in with you under the crawl space. Here's our crawl space access. Got a brand new shovel. Now I've got a crawl space shovel. Whenever we're working in a crawl space, I like to get things lit up really well with a bunch of lights in here and then get those fans going, and that makes it really nice in terms of not having a lot of dust in here. Alright, we are underneath the crawl space here, and I wanted to show you all how much this has sunk down. And so this is what happens when you have water that's running right into the foundation like that. That one's a pretty good one right there to show just how far it's sunk down. Look at that. And so what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be digging some holes for some support jacks and installing some support jacks, probably at least 7 of them, and lifting this whole thing up and giving it some permanent secondary support. The guys are under there digging the footers, and I'm closer to the exit here, and we're just pulling the sled back and forth and getting this dirt hauled out of here. And so in a really tight crawl space like that, I don't like to just leave the dirt piled up because it makes it that much tighter for anybody who has to come afterwards. So even though it's a huge pain, I like to get rid of the dirt. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to show you with those fans going, there's just no dust under here at all. Look at this. There's just no dust. Watch this. The dust just blows away. See that? So the dust just blows away. That is critically important for working in a confined space like this, is having really, really good ventilation to keep the dust down. It also helps to keep you cooler while you're working under here. Hey, you want me to do it for a while?
No, okay.
Let me know. What's up? Camera. Okay, we've got 7 holes dug. We've got them all cleaned out and they're ready for concrete. So that's what we're working on now. We're crawling out of here, gonna start working on the concrete.
Échale, compa. If we make marks.
Oh yeah. And now I've got an empty one. Okay, we just finished pouring our new footers. So we've got 7 going across here, 1 every 2 feet. And our run is about 15 feet. We're going from this support right here, which is still good, all the way to the far corner back there. And so we're gonna get a big steel beam in here and get that all fixed up. So we'll let this sit up for a couple days. And what I like to do is I like to leave my lights just all strung out here, and then I'll unplug them wherever I'm plugged in at the house. And then whenever I come back, I can just plug that thing back in and everything gets lit right back up. So it's been a heck of a day. Time to crawl out of here for the last time. I'm back out here today and I've got this beam with me, and my help didn't show up today. So I'm hoping I can get this beam wrestled under that house. The beam I'm going to be using here is a 3" by 3" by 1/4 inch, and I think it's about 15 feet long. And so without any help here, I'm going to try and see if I can get this under the house myself. So this should be pretty fun. Okay, I'm under the crawl space here. I just got my cord plugged back in, and if you remember, I left the cord all hooked up, so all my lights just popped back on. If you can see those back in the corner there. And so let's see if I can get this beam dragged under there by myself. So I'm going to take you all with me. Click. Oh, come on. Alright, I'm out here at the entrance about to crawl under, and I wanted to show you some of the materials I've got. I've got some joist hangers, a couple different sizes here. That'll be for securing the beam to the joists. I've got a bunch of blocks here. I've got 4 big bottle jacks. I've got a hammer drill, and I'll show you that for securing the posts to the concrete slab. Got more blocks here. Got some joist hanger nails. I've got some concrete Tapcons and the drill bits for them. I've got my torpedo level here, and I'm gonna have to move a water line, so I've got some shark bites. And I've got all this stuff on 2 sleds, so I can drag those pretty easily behind me as I crawl through there. So the beam is pretty much in there. I just need to get it up on some blocks and then get some jacks under it and start raising it. The first thing I want to do here is try and get this beam up on some blocks. And so this is going to be a little bit easier said than done, I think, with just me under here. Okay. Oh, almost. Come on. Okay. Now I think this thing probably wants to be a little bit further back. Maybe like right there. I haven't used this bottle jack in years. I've had it forever too, so let's see if it still works. Try to get it centered on there. It's not going to be super great. Actually, I'm probably going to need this little jack here to get back underneath. So let me get a big one in place here. Okay. Let me see if I can go get the other end up on a stand here. Ooh, that one fit though. All right. Oh man, I can't get over how heavy that beam is. Make sure I'm somewhat centered on it. So I can lift and lift. Get my hand out from underneath it. Okay. All right, let me just slide it over a little bit. Get into some good meat on these joists and get out of that darn washer drain line. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Oh yeah. Okay. Whoop. Okay. That was all the slack I needed. Look at that, right there. I've got to get this water line moved really quickly, so it's going to be right under the beam or in the way of the beam. So it's kind of a pain here. This joist is all rotted out. Okay, I've got the water line rerouted, so the next thing I want to do, you see this rotted wood here? I want to put a sister on this joist, and that'll give me a little bit stronger meat to lift into it when I raise the beam up. So let me get started on that. God, this thing is so heavy. Gotta be nice if I could go on the other side. Got so much more space, but this side's got better wood. Okay. Let me just get it up there, I guess. Now, if you notice, this side is not going to have to go very high because we're already on support here. But by getting the beam under a good joist, that's going to give us a really, really even lift and support system. All right, this beam is so strong, it's not even bending, it's just jacking the whole thing. So I guess I'm going to go for it. Bending a little bit. God, that is such a strong jack. All right, let me go get a couple cranks on the other two over here. Maybe I'll put this one in here too. These are good jacks too. That was pretty much that. Damn. Look at how strong that beam is. It's just lifting this whole thing off of here. I just can't get over it. That's a strong beam. God. This is fucking nuts. This is nuts. Although it's working. What the hell is that noise? I can't get over how strong this beam is. This thing is fucking nuts. This thing is nuts. how strong it is. Look at this. Usually when I do this, these things don't lift off like this. That beam is crazy strong. I guess that's what you want. Look at how it's just lifting off the jacks like that. Thing is crazy strong. Hey, look at that. Boom. God, that shit is nuts. Just looking at that brick. Okay, with the help of the homeowners, they were up there looking at how things looked, and I've got, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 temporary jacks in here, and so the floor it looks good up there, and so now these temporary jacks are holding this whole thing up where it wants to be. So now I'm going to start putting the permanent jacks in, and the permanent jacks have a little bit of adjustment to them as well. So I can definitely adjust them as needed and make it look good again. But so far so good. This working by myself is the pits, but boy, it's going well as far as getting things back to where they need to be. And right there where I sistered that's holding pretty well too. I probably want to put a couple carriage bolts in there, but God, I just don't even know if that's going to do anything or not. So let's get some permanent jacks in here. Try to get some light in here for you. But this is pretty much how that works. This is your adjustment here. Broke it. Sometimes that happens with Tapcons. Okay, I think I'm ready to take these two out. These two jacks. Let me get some of this crap out of the way. All right, nothing moved. I'll put the link for these adjustable floor jacks in the description. You can check those out. And when you install them like we're doing here, where they're setting on concrete, they are Tapcons to the concrete, and I also am going to metal screw them to the beam. And then what I'm doing here is I'm installing some joist hangers to tie the joists to the beams. These jacks are approved for permanent secondary support. And so even though they say they're for temporary support, if you install them the way I'm doing here, they're good for permanent secondary support. So in other words, for helping out with something like we're doing here. And I've installed these many times on my own houses and in different jobs here, and they've all passed inspection. So these things work really, really well. And I like going with more because it gives you a nice even support to the already questionable structure of what you're doing. Oh, man. Where's the bar to let it down? Damn, it's a heavy jack. Whew. Alright, well there it is. Alright, I need one more jack here. I only brought 6 for some reason. Take a look. What do you think? Alright, here we are back in the room, and I'll show you a before picture.
Move the chair.
That's okay, I think. Alright, but that looks really good, and this over here came up quite a bit. It's still a little bit low, but I think we're good to go here. And then there was also one, oh, this one right here. So that one came up pretty good too. And we didn't crack any tiles. Coming up nice and evenly like that was the ticket. I went back over there to put that last jack in, and the homeowners asked me if I would try to lift that floor just a little bit more. And so what ended up happening is I lifted it up enough to where that jack didn't reach anymore. And so I had to cut a taller one down, and I'll show you that in a sec. But basically there's where I just cut it, and you can see the piece right there where the telescoping piece that came off. And so this is one of the jacks that came, one of the 12-inch ones, and then this was one of the taller ones that I cut down. So I was only a couple inches short, but that was enough to have to redo it. So I got that done for him. I also sprayed, you can't see it right here, I sprayed some mold remover under there as well. When I was back there, I'd forgotten my camera. Okay, I wanted to show you really quickly. The shorter ones go from 1 foot to 1 foot 3 inches. And then the next ones go from 1 foot 7 inches. And so you've got just a few inches that aren't covered by these jacks. And so what I've done in the past and what I did here is I simply took the other side of the post of this one and then just cut it to wherever it needed to be. And that gave me the right size jack. And so the problem with that is these are like 4 times the price of these little ones. But sometimes that's what you have to do. And like I was saying, some places won't let you do the telescoping part where you put the bolts through there as a permanent thing. So you have to keep an eye on that. All finished. Here are a couple of shots that the homeowner took and sent me after I raised up that floor just a little bit for the second time. And so I had forgotten my camera that day when I went back there, so there's a couple images for you from the homeowners. I'm out here at one of my rental properties, and I know I mentioned I did some of those support jacks before, so I wanted to show you. This is a driveway that Harvey did back in 2016. And let me show you real quickly here. When I bought this property, there was like a teeny tiny half bath right here. And so, yeah, you see this wall right here? This was like the bath. So that was that. And so I blew that wall out and actually made a full bath in here. I added all this wall here. And so this room right here is like an addition. So let me show you, and I just did this tile recently. So let me show you under the property here, because that floor was really squishy, and I was really worried about bringing that bathroom in with all that extra weight. And so I did add some of those supports. Now take a look. This was back in 2016. So this one here was already in place, and that's been, I guess, doing okay. I did add some concrete under it. And then these were the ones, maybe I didn't add concrete under that one. Anyway, these were the ones I did. And I was using a 4x4 post there. Now I really like that steel beam a lot better. But I remember asking Harvey, they had that big concrete truck, and I asked Harvey if I could get a couple buckets of concrete, and I just felt like I was asking for the world when I was asking him for that, but they were happy to provide those. So that's been sitting there for quite a few years, and no problems at all. So I just wanted to show you all that. This was a pretty interesting job, and I wanted to talk about a couple things. The first of which is the fact that that area under there with all that rotted wood, everything was dry. The ground was dry, the wood was dry, the mold was all dormant. And so I would not have done that repair if there was water continually getting in there. And so I had originally thought that the concrete sloping into the house was where the water was coming from. But after being under there, after some rains, there wasn't any water at all. And so I talked to the homeowners about that, and I said, you know, if there is water continuing to come in here, we need to fix the water first before we fix this foundation issue. And so I'm not exactly sure what caused that mold and that rotted wood. Now, the homeowners did say they had a water leak years ago, and so that might have been it or may have contributed to it. I'm not exactly sure what caused it. But the point is, there was no more water under there during rain and after rain, and so I felt okay about going in and doing the repair as it was. And so again, you would not want to go in there and do that repair if there was continually water getting in there. You'd want to fix that water first. Now, those support jacks, those things work really, really well, but they get a bad rap because a lot of people go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy them and then put them under a house and set them on like a brick. I've seen that many times. I've bought houses before where there's just like a row of those jacks and they're sitting on bricks, and that of course is not going to last at all. And so the other thing, if you use the telescoping part with the bolts, those are not approved for permanent support. Now, it's kind of questionable if they're approved for permanent secondary support, so check your area. But home inspectors love to trash on those things, but I think they work really well, and I've used them many, many times. In this case, we set them on concrete. We use a bunch of them, so we used one every 2 or so feet, and we bolt them down, and we screw them to the beam as well. And so I feel like that's a really, really good and permanent fix on that repair for that. So the other thing I wanted to talk about with those was they don't lift. So they have that screwing adjustment to them, but you can't lift with that. All you can do is use the bottle jacks, get everything where you want it, and then you use that screw adjustment to pretty much snug them in place, and then they'll support whatever they've got. So I think those work really, really well. Again, you're using them for secondary support. You're not using them for primary support. They're not approved for that. And we also used that steel beam under there. I like the steel because it's lower profile. You don't have like a 4x6 beam going across there, a big treated, pressure treated wooden beam. And so that steel is also really, really, really strong. And so you saw in the video where I just could not get over how strong that beam was when I was lifting. So I felt really good. That was a 3x3 by 1/4 inch beam. So that was a good, strong, heavy duty beam. And then of course using everything steel under there against that rotted wood, that's not going to affect the steel. So that was another big selling point for using steel, was that it should be good to go for a long, long time. And I think the fact that we used 7 support jacks, that's way overkill, but I am okay with that because I like the idea of a very even, very well supported fix for an area that has questionable support to begin with. And so you probably could have gotten away with putting 2 jacks in there and jacked the thing up. But I want this thing to last for decades. And so it doesn't take that much more effort to dig a few extra holes and fill them with concrete, especially since you're already there, you're already digging, you're already doing all that. And so getting that extra support in there is something that I like to do. And if a home inspector comes across that, if they ever sell the house or whatever, they're not going to have a problem with that fix. Now, obviously, you could have torn the house down and rebuilt it, and that would have been a better fix. But as far as a realistic fix, I think we got pretty much 100% of what we could have gotten with this fix. So let me know what you think about this in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and you can support the channel. There are links in the description to become a patron or to buy me a coffee. So thanks again for watching. If you have learned anything from watching me lift up this floor, you can support the channel and you know what to do here. You can also check the links for becoming a patron or to buy me a coffee. Thanks again for watching.